go in reverse, get the reverse camera, go into drive, switches to the front camera for 6 seconds, and then it'll switch back to the stereo. In theory, you can do this on the car because you can twist this badge off, but it's really hard to twist, and when I did it I just snapped my top tab. Annoying. So this is the camera we're fitting. I'll put the link in the description. That's going to fit in the bottom of the VW badge. So you can see when it's inside the VW badge, it still sits proud. There's a gap, which is annoying. It doesn't exactly look great the way it sticks out, in my opinion, but probably won't notice it when it's in the car. And my theory is I can grind away in the bottom here so that this sits a bit more flush if I grind away at the bottom. So I'm going to grind away like this with a little file. So you can see I actually filed a bit off the bottom of that, not much, and I filed a fair bit off down here, and now I've got a much more flush fit, sitting a lot better than it was. Still a little gap at the top and a little gap at the bottom, but that's just because the curvature doesn't match. Poor engineering. I could file a bit in the middle so the curvature would match more, but I think I'll see how it looks. So now you're going to take this little blank plate out. Easy pops out, just push it. But you're going to need to think about how this twists on, because you're going to have this bit of metal sticking out the back. So you're going to have to cut quite a broad hole in this grill so that it can go in sideways and twist in, assuming you didn't snap all of your bloody tabs off like I did, or one of them. So I've looked at how this is going to go on and then twist, and I've thought about how this is going to stick out and need to go through here to be able to twist. But you need to leave enough plastic, obviously, for this back plate to go through here and clamp onto something. That something has to be this, because there's nothing else to clamp onto. But this is not very stable. It's got a couple of weak clips on it, but maybe once everything's all sandwiched in, it will be relatively secure. If not, I'm going to probably glue this. I've already started using a bit of shoe glue just to make it fit a little bit tighter, but my shoe glue is all dried up. But I think it's a good glue to use for this kind of thing. So that's something to think about back in a bit. So just to be clear, I'm tearing through these little cells to make room for that thread, and I'm just doing it with a screwdriver and some needle nose pliers. Let's finish the job. So that's in there now. You see how much I've had to cut on the grill behind. Now we can tighten up. So tighten up this clamp. So look how stupid this design is. This wing nut rubs against there, so you can't turn it because the back end of the grill's in the way. So I'm pretty much doomed to never getting this properly tight, I suppose. Try and see where we end up. Have a look on the other side. Huge gap come back. No idea what I'm going to do about that. Just a shit design. Just keep tightening, I guess. See where we end up. It actually does have enough clearance on the wing nut once you get past a certain point. That gap is disgusting. I hate that gap. But you know, once it's on the front of the car, I suppose no one's going to notice, except me. Design issue number million. This threaded bit and the cable is going to collide with the bodywork once I push it back. It's going to bend the cable, as you can see. That's one China. I wanted to route the cable in such a way that it's away from the radiator if possible. I want it burning, so I think I'll go for this route up through. This is where the bonnet lock and release system is. And it looks like the bonnet release cable runs over here to the left, so I've gone alongside that, which comes out over here currently. Obviously, before doing any electronics, I recommend, especially on this fuse box, I recommend taking the earth strap off, the ground strap off the battery. Now I've got to work my way up and through the firewall, following the loom cables back into the cabin on the passenger side, because I heard the driver's side's a bit of a pain. So I ended up not following the cable routing of the bonnet release. Instead I've got behind this air filter, and I plan to go up and under this bodywork. So I'll run an earth off of that in the end. I was thinking about going off the fuse box here, that big one, but quite hard to undo. Couldn't get a socket on it, got no space. Feel free to choose your favourite grounding spot. But, you know, the cable tucks in nicely there. So I ended up running that wire down here, along, and then under the fuse box, and then it goes back to here, and you can see that black wire running in there. Each of those little rubber bits there are nipples that you can chop off, and then you can push wires through what they call the firewall. And I used a coat hanger straightened to push the wire through. I actually was able to push the whole plug through, the RCA plug that goes to the head unit. For the power, I did something a bit different. I've taken the ground cable under and I've attached it to here. It's not brilliant, but it'll do. And then for the live, I've actually gone the other way towards the fuse box. You can see a hint of it there. It goes under this tape, back there, and I've pushed my magic coat hanger down through the bonnet release grommet there, making sure to have disconnected the battery first so I don't short anything. And then I've pushed the wire through, down into the fuse box, just behind here. You can get this off. And pry tool. I happen to use a tyre lever on the bike. And then you can see I've used this piggyback fuse connector and wired it up there. You want to check which fuse is switched to the ignition, so you don't want the camera on all night when you're not using the car, draining the battery. And you can check that with a multimeter, see whether there's voltage running through. Okay, this is on my Joying 8-inch, and I've got AR camera standards, and 1080p didn't work at all. 25 and 30 frames per second. 720p seemed to be working okay, so that looks like this. When I say working okay, I mean you get some imagery, but it's obviously repeated, kind of messed up, so I'm going to email them about that.